doing photography as a teenager, I didn't really think about it as an art. But at UND, I started taking art classes and realized that I had an interest in art as photography. And so I graduated with a degree in visual art in 1995 and started working for the North Dakota Geological Survey. And I did a little art, but I kind of put the camera down. But in 2014, I was looking for just something to do as a hobby. So I bought a cheap digital camera, and it just kind of exploded from there. It went from what was going to just be a hobby into a profession as an artist. 2017, I applied for my first one at Beaver Lake State Park, and I was just getting into light painting, which is a type of photography. You basically stand in front of the camera and you draw with light, paint with light, and I thought it would be fun to have a block of time where I could just concentrate on that. I thought this would be a good opportunity at a place that would be inspiring for creativity. So I applied, and to my amazement, I was selected. It was a pretty phenomenal time as I was able to actually concentrate on light painting and to a lesser extent shooting the night sky. And I hadn't been doing it that long. I had the photography, I knew the technical skills, so it was a really opportunity to refine and take myself in a direction with light painting and develop my own style. I'm working at night, so it's completely dark, so not using my eyes, I'm using my ears, a lot of times to create my art. And I could hear fish jumping, lots of fish. And that's when my creativity struck with my fantastical fishing image. That was a 30-second exposure. Set the camera up on shore, and I walked down the fishing pier holding the light, making a light trail. And when I got to the position where I was supposed to look like I was fishing, I had to flip it over my head. I had to do this all in 30 seconds. So it takes some coordination, and it's complete darkness. You don't want a lot of ambient light. But I also did a hands-on light painting. So I had a couple families that got involved in that and showed them the basics, and they tried it out, and they had ideas they wanted to try. So I said, yeah, we can do that. So I just worked with them, and we just started light painting. It was a 10-day residency, and I spent the first 5 days doing nothing but at night. I'd go out just after sunset, and I had 7 cameras I was running that I would set up. It took me roughly an hour and a half to get everything set up, and I had to be very systematic about it, because it literally was so cold that you couldn't take chances. You couldn't leave your hands exposed. Because it was so cold, sounds carried. I could be standing there and it would just be completely quiet. Then you would hear some trees just kind of start crackling in the cold, and you might hear something shift out in the woods, an animal, branch would break, it was just very inspiring. But I would also take all those images in Photoshop and put them together to make video, and that was my final project, was a 3-minute high-resolution time-lapse of the park at night. And one thing I found just incredibly inspiring, and you can see it in the time-lapse videos with all the trees. I found it very spiritual how the trees were reaching for the heavens, and I spent a great deal of time just staring and looking. By doing a residency like this, people go, oh, wow, you are a professional, because your average person is not going to be able to do this. These residencies, they're a time to really do your work, your artwork, and I use them. They're on my resume. I apply for other residencies around the country. I want to do more of them. They're very inspiring times.